Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about the first theme, and it's dystopian society. So, what I decided to do was give you an article that kind of talks about the appeal of dystopian novels for kids, for teens. And what it does is it kind of goes over what the dystopian society is and what some of the themes are within it and why teenagers specifically tend to enjoy that. So this is the article that I put on the class pages. I'm just going to read through it with you, and we're going to go through the questions together. Okay, so hopefully this will help anything. So the first thing I want you to notice is the image that's here. And, this is an image that they found that kind of depicts details about what dystopian stories are all about. So when you look at it, you notice that it's not very bright, right? We have the moonlight up there, so it is showing that it's night or dark. This is like city life. And this looks technological in its conception, right? It kind of looks like a robot. It could kind of look like those might be cameras. We might not be 100% sure what that is. And then when we look, we generally get the information about the picture. So this says, many dystopian novels have dark, dismal settings, like the one above, of a futuristic water tower looming over a cityscape. Okay? So it has that feel because it's supposed to. It's that technology kind of looking over everything. So now I'm just going to read through the article with you, and we'll go over some of the main ideas from each paragraph the way we normally would. Okay? Now, if it's hard for you to see this, I did already put the article up so you could be reading on your own screen. Okay, teens are devouring the current popular literature of the dark, grim, and dismal, the dystopian novel. The storylines are typically bleak. So in those two sentences, we already get the full sense of just how dark these things are. We get dark, grim, dismal. Those are three very negative terms. And then the word bleak. Right? When it says the storylines are bleak, it means that there's really no silver lining there. It's a very dark and sad or scary type of storyline. They include leaders who terrorize citizens every year by making them watch teens fight to the death, or governments who support mandatory operations to remove emotion. These are just two plots from popular dystopian novels that teens are reading. But just what is a dystopian novel, and how long has it been around? And there's the bigger question: why is this type of novel so appealing to teens? So that question is there because it looks and it says, like, okay, one of the popular storylines is when you make people fight to the death. Okay, that means someone's not coming out alive. And the second one is where they remove all emotion. And we know that we all consider emotion to be the one thing that you can't help. You can't help feeling a certain way. So, definition. A dystopia is a society that is broken down, unpleasant, or in an oppressed or terrorized state. Unlike a utopia, which is a perfect world, dystopias are grim, dark, and hopeless. When used in stories, they reveal a society's greatest fears. Totalitarian governments rule with complete power, disregarding the needs and wants of individuals. In most dystopian novels, a tyrannical government is trying to control and suppress its citizens by taking away their individuality, as in the classics 1984 by George Orwell and Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Dystopian governments also ban activities that encourage individual thinking. The government's response to individual thinking in Ray Bradbury's classic Fahrenheit 451 was to burn the books. So, history. Dystopian novels are not new to the reading public. Since the late 1890s, H.G. Wells, Ray Bradbury, and George Orwell have entertained audiences with them. Their classics tell stories of Martians, book burnings, and Big Brother, the ever-present Orwellian leader. Over the years, other dystopian books like Nancy Farmer's The House of the Scorpion and Lois Lowry's Newbery-winning book, The Giver, have given younger characters a more central role in dystopian settings. Since 2000, dystopian novels for teens have retained the dismal, dark setting, but the nature of the characters has changed. Characters are no longer passive and powerless citizens. Instead, they are teens who are empowered, fearless, strong, and determined to find a way to survive and face their fears. Major characters have influential personalities that harsh governments attempt to control but cannot. So here we get this understanding kind of where we could see teens today wanting to read these things. You know, in the past, it was always just the dark things happening. But since 2000, yes, it's the dismal, dark setting, but the characters are no longer passive. Now they've been given power. They're going against this harsh oppression and fighting their way out. So this is, I think, where we see teens excited because, you know, you want to see them overthrow the tyrannical government. You want to see them come out on top. A recent example of this type of teen dystopian novel is the incredibly popular Hunger Games series. Katniss, a 16-year-old girl, is the series' main character and hero. She is willing to take her sister's place in the annual event where teens from 12 different districts must fight to the death. Katniss commits a purposeful act of rebellion against the Capitol that keeps readers on the edge of their seats. In the dystopian novel Delirium by Lauren Oliver, the government teaches citizens that love is a dangerous disease that must be eradicated. That means get rid of. By age 18, everyone must undergo a mandatory operation to remove the ability to feel love. Lena looks forward to the operation and fears love. Then she meets a boy, and together they flee the government and find the truth. Divergent by Veronica Roth is yet another favorite dystopian novel. In it, teens must unite themselves with groups based on virtues. However, the main character learns she's divergent. She doesn't fit into a group. This makes her dangerous. She becomes a threat to the government and must keep secrets in order to protect her loved ones from harm. So the teen appeal. So what do teens find so appealing about dystopian novels? Teens in dystopian novels get to perform ultimate acts of rebellion against authority, and that's appealing. Conquering a dismal future is empowering, especially when the teens have to rely on themselves without having to answer to parents, teachers, or other authoritarian figures. Teen readers can certainly relate to those feelings. Today's teen dystopian novels contain teen characters who exhibit strength, courage, and conviction. Although death, war, and violence exist, a more positive and hopeful message about the future is out there. That's being sent by teens who are facing future fears and conquering them. Okay, so which two of the following sentences from the article include central ideas of the article? So when we talk about a central idea, we're ultimately talking about the main idea. So what two sentences include main ideas from the article? So we have teens are devouring the popular literature of dark, grim, and dismal, the dystopian novel. Since the late 1890s, H.G. Wells, Ray Bradbury, and George Orwell have entertained audiences with them. Sentence 3, in the dystopian novel Delirium by Lauren Oliver, the government teaches citizens that love is a dangerous disease that must be eradicated. And 4, teens in dystopian novels get to perform ultimate acts of rebellion against authority, and that's appealing. So when we talk about this article, the title itself says appeal of dystopian novels for teens. So we know that it has to do with that in some way, shape, or form. And when you're talking about central ideas, you can't be super specific. So since we can't be super specific, just talking about the 1890s would not be a central idea because that's just one little piece of it. So number 2 would be out. Okay? What other one is very specific when you look at it? 3 is also very specific, right? It's talking about just delirium, and that's not the case here. But now if we look at number 1, teens are devouring the current popular literature of the dark, grim, and dismal, the dystopian novel. Okay, that definitely goes into it since the title talks about that. And number 4, teens in dystopian novels get to perform ultimate acts of rebellion against authority, and that's appealing. So if I was the one doing this, you look through and we said it's 1 and 4. So A would be out, 1 and 4. Your answer would be B. Okay? Number 2, read the following paragraphs from this section, history. How is this article's central idea developed in these paragraphs? So, again, central idea, our main idea. So we talk about our recent one. So this one talks about the Hunger Games, which we're going to get into, and this one talks about Divergent. So it says, they demonstrate how dystopian novels have changed from the 1890s until now. They show that dystopian novels have a hopeful message at the end of the books. They highlight some of the criticisms that teens have voiced about dystopian novels. They provide popular examples of dystopian novels with teens as the main character. So this is saying, how is the article's central idea developed? So this one would be D. They provide popular examples of dystopian novels with teens, so it's D, with teens as the main character. Number 3, read the paragraph from the introduction. Which word from the selection shows a depressing tone? So in the first paragraph, we had talked about what it says. The storylines are typically bleak. They include leaders who terrorize citizens every year by making them watch teens fight to the death, or governments who support mandatory operations to remove emotion. Those are just 2 plots from popular dystopian novels that teens are reading. So, which word shows a depressing tone? Bleak, mandatory, emotion, or appealing? Right, bleak. So A is your answer, bleak. Number 4, conquering a dismal future is empowering, especially when the teens have to rely on themselves without having to answer to parents, teachers, or other authoritarian figures. How does using the word empowering affect the tone of the sentence above? So A says it conveys the sense of fear and uncertainty that teens feel when they are reading dystopian novels. Now, empowering is something that makes you feel strong, right? Empowering means that, it's strengthening teens when they have to rely on themselves. So it can't be the uncertainty. It conveys a sense of freedom and hope about what teens are able to accomplish in dystopian novels. It conveys a sense of strength and power that authoritarian figures have have over teens in dystopian novels. It conveys the sense of amusement and entertainment that teens feel after reading the ending of a dystopian novel. So, conquering a dismal future is empowering, especially when the teens have to rely on themselves without having to answer to parents, teachers, or other authoritarian figures. So, empowering affects the tone by it's giving them that sense of freedom and hope about what they are able to accomplish. So, B would be our answer to number 4. Okay. So I hope that that was helpful for you, and we're going to get into the movie this week. Have a great day, everybody.